All right, why don't we get started? I would like to welcome everyone here to the October 21st hearings before the Board of Municipal and Zoning Appeals for Baltimore City. A few preliminary matters before we get started. Generally, we're going to call the cases in the order that they appear on the docket. I do, however, want to tell everybody that our recording devices, which you see up here, the little flat microphones, are very sensitive. We're also being recorded for purposes of broadcast on TV, and you'll see some TV cameras up here and up here. So for those reasons, we ask you to turn off any cell phones or other devices that make noises and to hold any conversations that you may have amongst yourselves to a very low level, and we would appreciate that. The procedure today will be, as I call the cases, the appellant will stand to my left, and any opposition will stand to my right. The appellant will present the appellant's case. If there's opposition, the opposition will state what the opposition is. The appellant will have the opportunity to close, and then that will be the end of that particular hearing. We will make a decision today on the cases we hear. And if you'd like to stick around, you certainly can. But otherwise, you can call the zoning administrator's office tomorrow and get our decision, and that number is 410-396-4301, and I'll read that again. 410-396-4301. We have several cases today where there is opposition present. And we have found that in cases where there is opposition present, sometimes if the parties talk, they can work things out, which makes everybody's afternoon here a little easier. I'm going to call the cases that have opposition. I'll just ask you to stand. You don't have to come up. And we'll ask if you want to have the opportunity to go outside and try to work through the differences that you have. I will tell you that we will make a decision on each case today. Sometimes that means someone's going to go away unhappy, so we do encourage whatever resolution you can work out amongst yourselves to be done. So the first case for which we have opposition is 2014-16, 101 West Rope Walk Lane. Have you all had a chance to talk? Any chance of resolution? Okay, now we'll call your case in turn. 2014-308, 223 to 25 Park Avenue. Are you the appellant?
No.
You're in opposition?
Yes.
The appellant? He's here? All right, we'll call it. I mean, maybe it's just outside. We'll call it again. 2014-364, 35 North Potomac Street. Jokey, do we have someone signed in for that one? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a postponed case. I'm sorry. 2014-371, 116 West Hamburg Street.
Yeah, we spoke, and what we'd like to do is possibly postpone so that I can present to their community association.
Okay.
Tuesday. My only fear is that like do I get pushed back another 6 weeks, or get anyway to be.
It won't be 6 weeks. I don't know if we can get you in the next 2 weeks, but David, can we get him in within the next month?
Next 2 weeks is election day.
Oh, it probably.
Looking like 4 weeks.
It'll be in November. We're only meeting once in November. So.
Okay. What's that November date?
November 18th.
All right. Yeah, that's fine.
So you're asking for you're Mr. Garner,
Yes, sir.
and you're asking for a postponement. Okay. So we'll postpone that case. Is your opposition here?
Yeah.
Okay. You've signed in, I understand, so we'll give you notification of the hearing. All right? Thank you. Uh, 2014-402, 516 East 25th Street. Are you the appellant?
I am the appellant.
You're the appellant. And you're in opposition? Have you guys had a chance to chat? Would you like to?
If he wants to show up. I never knew I had an opposition. No one talks that place.
You can go outside and talk if you want.
It's unbelievable.
Okay, that's the cases for which we have opposition present. There are a couple of postponements. I'll go through them now. 1715 to 1721 South Clinton Street, Joseph Woolman, has been postponed. Anyone here for that case? 35 North Potomac Street has been postponed. 500 to 502 South Broadway has been postponed. 619 Willow Avenue, 2014-398 has been postponed. And that's it for the postponements. We're next going to call cases for which we call our consent docket. And these are cases for which we have reviewed and zoning board staff has provided us with sufficient information to deal with your approval, your appeal on a summary basis. So I'm going to call a bunch of cases at once. Would you please line up in order that I call you, starting at my left and just wind up around this way. The first case on our consent docket is 2014-370, 3412 Olympia Avenue, Kime and Barbara Shore. Next case, 2014-374, 1726 South Charles Street, J&M Development Group. You the first one? You can come on up. 2014-375, 3818 Roland Avenue. 2014-376, 3617 to 19 7 Mile Lane. 2414-377, I'm going to read a bunch of these in a row. 377, 378, 379, 380, 381, 382, 383, 384. 206 North Duncan, 208 North Duncan, 214 North Duncan, 212 North Duncan, 216 North Duncan, 218 North Duncan, 227 North Duncan, and 229 North Duncan. 2014-385, 1250 Riverside Avenue. 2014-387, 17 East 21st Street. 2014-388, 125 West Randall Street. 2014-391, 314 North Paca. 2014-393, 2628 East Baltimore Street. 2014-395, 2022 St. Paul Street. 2014-397, 2703 Bartle Avenue. 2014-399, 143 East North Avenue. 2014-401, 3500 Elliott Street. And 2014-439, 6205 Sareva Drive. All right, let's get everyone sworn in.
Raise your right hand, please. We swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
All right, first case, 2014-370, 3412 Olympia Avenue, Kime and Barbara Shore. Could you state your name for the record, please?
Chaim Shore,
Mr. Shore, this is to construct a two-story rear addition?
correct.
Right. Do we have any staff reports?
Martin French for the Baltimore City Planning Department. The Planning Department has no comment on this application. Thank you.
Mr. Shore, we have sufficient information to approve your appeal. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next case, 2014-374, 1726 South Charles Street, J&L Development.
Yes.
Can you state your name, please?
Rick Hayslip here on behalf of James Terry.
Great. And this is to construct a two-story rear addition.
Yes.
Mr. French, any reports?
Planning Planning Department has no comment on this application.
Great. We have sufficient information to approve your appeal.
Thank you.
2014-375, 3818 Roland Avenue, Bonnie McCubbin?
McCubbin.
McCubbin, sorry. And this is to use your entire premises as offices?
Yes.
Great. Any staff reports?
Planning Department has no objection to this application.
We have sufficient information in our files to approve your appeal. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
2014-376, 3617 19 South Mile Lane. Lisa Junker.
7 Mile Lane.
7 Mile Lane, sorry.
That's okay.
To continue, the assisted living facility, construct a rear addition with rear deck, a front addition with porch, install parking facilities with refuse enclosure in front yard, and add adult daycare. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's not how we wrote it, but that's correct.
Okay. Any staff reports?
Planning Department recommends approval of this application. Thank you.
We have sufficient information in our files to approve your appeal. Thank you.
Thank you.
2014-377, again, I'll just call these all in a row. 378, 379, 380, 381, 382, 383, 384, 385. I'm sorry, not 385, 384 is the last one. North Duncan Street. Gina Campbell.
I'm not Gina Campbell. I'm Lisa Junker for the record, representing Home Acquisition LLC, who are the property owners for the properties.
Okay. And this is to construct a two-story rear addition with a rear deck and rooftop deck on each of these properties.
That is correct.
Great. Staff reports?
Planning Department has no comment on any of these applications.
Great. We have sufficient information in our file to approve your appeal. Thank you.
Thank you.
2014-385, 1250 Riverside Avenue. Keith Lamont?
That's me.
Great. And this is to construct a second floor overhanging rear addition.
Correct.
Great. Any staff reports?
Planning Department has no comment on this application.
Great.
Thank you.
We have sufficient information in our file to approve your appeal. Thank you.
Thank you.
2014-387, 17 East 21st Street. You're back.
I don't go far.
Ms. Junker.
Yeah.
This is to house 3 dwelling units and offices. How many offices?
First floor offices.
Okay.
So 1 office space on the first floor.
Okay. Any staff reports?
Planning Department has no objection to this application.
Great. We have sufficient information in our file to approve your appeal. Thank you.
Excuse me, Sharon Guidi
Oh.
here for Charles Village Civic Association.
Sorry, Ms.
I
Guidi.
didn't announce myself sooner. In the file, we have a letter of agreement with the property owner, which is conditional upon our support. And I just wanted to add for the record that there are 2 off-street parking spaces as part of the plan, which I'd like to make sure is part of the
We
record.
will. Thank you.
And that formed one of the basis of our support.
Fine. Thank you. Sorry,
Thank you.
sorry I didn't recognize
That's
you.
okay. Thank you. Thank you.
391. All right, I'm going to call, Ms. Junker, I'm going to call your 391 case. 2014-391, 314 North Paca, Lisa Junker,
Yes.
to house 1 dwelling unit and 5 efficiencies.
Yes.
Any staff reports on this?
The Planning Department recommends approval of this application. Thank you.
Thank you. We have sufficient information in our files to approve your appeal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you're right. 388, 2014-388 and 2014-389, 125 West Randall, 127 West Randall, each to construct a second-floor rear addition with second-floor rear deck and rooftop deck. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And again, any...
Planning Department has no comment on either of these applications. Thank you.
Great. We have sufficient information in our files to approve your appeal. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Next, we have 2014-393, 2628 East Baltimore Street.
Tom Camposano.
It's a Compensano. This is to construct a third-floor rear addition with rear deck and access to rooftop deck.
That's correct.
Great, thank you. Any staff reports?
Planning Department has no comment on this application. Thank you.
Great. We have sufficient information in our files to approve your appeal. Thank you.
Thank you.
2014-395, 2022 St. Paul Street. Justin Powell.
Paul. Anthony O'Donnell.
I'm sorry?
Anthony O'Donnell. 2022 St. Paul.
Yes.
Odole.
And who is Mr. Justin Powell?
He's the guy who helped me submit the application.
Okay, and you're the owner?
I'm the owner, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Can you spell your last name?
Odole,
First name?
Anthony. Yeah.
Okay, great. And this is to use the premises to house 2 dwelling units,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Great. Any staff reports?
Planning Department recommends approval of this application. Thank you.
Okay, we have sufficient information in our files to approve your appeal. Thank you.
Thanks.
2014-397, 2703 Bartle Avenue. Samuel and Laurie Pleater. Pleater, sorry.
No problem.
You're Mr. Pleater?
Yes, I am.
Great. And this is to construct a 2-story rear addition with rear deck and a 1-story open side porch.
Correct.
Great. Staff reports?
Planning Department has no comment on this application.
Great.
Thank you.
Mr. Fleeter, we have sufficient information in our file to approve your appeal. Thank you.
Thank you.
143 East North Avenue, Williamsville Properties Holding.
Yes.
Care of Angel Dolphin. My guess is, are you Angel?
No, I'm the architect,
Okay.
and I'm representing Mr. Dolphin. My name is Ken,
Correct.
K-E-N, last name's K-U-P-F-E-R.
Great, thank you. And this is to use the premises to house 3 dwelling units and 4 efficiencies.
Correct.
Great, thank you. Any staff reports?
Planning Department recommends approval of this application. Thank you.
We have sufficient information in our files to approve your appeal. Thank you.
Right, thank you.
2014-401, 3500 Elliott Street. Mr. Prettle, how are you?
Good. Afternoon.
This is to construct a 2-story rear addition and a rooftop deck, correct?
That's correct.
Great. Any staff reports?
Planning Department has no comment on this application. Thank you.
We have sufficient information in our files to support your appeal. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
And finally, on our consent docket, 6205 Sureva Drive, Merrill Siegelman.
Thank you. I'm Merle Ann Siegelman on the consent docket.
Okay.
205.
And you're Merle?
Seek approval. Yeah, Merle Ann.
Okay.
Thank you. And I have a letter for myself listing several reasons we want the appeal. And we have 2 letters, one from my next door neighbor, who's
Okay.
presumably live in, and we already have a garden up to the property line as well.
Okay. Would you like us to make those part of the record?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And that's also my across the street neighbor.
And this is to construct a 1-story side carport addition.
Right.
Great.
It's attached to the house, and it's within the existing.
Okay. Staff reports?
Planning Department has no comment on this application.
Great.
Thank
We
you.
have sufficient information in our file to support your appeal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay. All right, first case is 2014-16, 101 West Rope Walk Lane.
He's out in the hall. He's in the dungeon.
Let me get you all sworn in first.
Raise your right hands, please. Raise your hands. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes.
Okay. As a preliminary matter, Mr. Chung is a former client of my firm. I just want to, I don't believe that presents a conflict of interest, but I'll, to the appellants, I'll raise that to you. Okay. Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Okay. All right. Mr. Baird, let's tell us a little bit about what's going on here.
Well, the board may remember that we were here for almost an hour at a previous hearing, and you did not take a position. There was considerable testimony by Mr. Chung, but that you wanted us to go back to the city's site plan review committee. The planning department recommended approval of the appeal, subject to that approval, and given maybe some of the issues that you heard that day, you said go back and get their approval. We did obtain that approval. Mr. French can verify that. You have a letter in the file which discusses that approval, and it was my it was hope and request that the board, rather than redo the whole hearing, that we would maybe address any of the issues relating to the site plan review committee's approval. At the time of the hearing, we gave you substantial testimony as to the uniqueness of this property and the plan itself. This is an infill property replacing an industrial use. The board actually approved a similar appeal on Clarkson, which is right across the street from Rope Walk Lane. That property is beginning the subdivision process by the city. It's the same developer who's here to my right, Aaron Stubbs. And without belaboring the agenda, unless you want to, I know Ms. Thomas, who's a dear friend of mine, she is here in opposition because her neighborhood group was not contacted. Frankly, I was not, from discussions with the city, I was not aware that her group was even still in existence. We did meet with the South Baltimore Association, which testified in favor of, or recommended in favor of both properties. We are scheduled to meet with Ms. Thomas's group on Tuesday. If the board would approve this, we have to go through a subdivision approval process. And we will, as I said, I would ask the board to approve the variances, answer any questions you may have from the last hearing, or maybe address some of the issues that Mr. Chung or Ms. Thomas would have.
I think what I'd like, Mr. Barry, if you could summarize the past hearing as to the elements of the variance.
Okay, Mr. Predel was here, and maybe we can do that
And
together.
you can do it in
Sure.
summary fashion, but I think just to make our record complete for this hearing.
Okay, you want to start with, describe the plans and what you want me to...
Yeah, Nate Predel, AB Associates. Plan, as Mr. Barry says, an infill development around the 100 block of West Rope Walk Lane. The property is currently improved with I believe, a one-story warehouse as well as a parking area. We propose to demolish the warehouse, construct 5 new single-family attached 3-story dwellings with front-loading garage, 1 parking space per dwelling, rooftop decks. The issue at the last hearing was whether or not Rope Walk Lane would allow traffic or vehicular traffic and parking into these units. That was a primary point of contention with which we decided to postpone the hearing, go back to the Site Plan Review Committee. We made several changes, very minor changes at Site Plan Review Committee, primarily regarding pedestrian access to the fronts of these houses, which involved adding brick pavers and a new flush curb to sort of differentiate the Rope Walk Lane from the pedestrian access at our front doors. And that's basically it. We were approved, and the setback. There's a 4-foot setback from Rope Walk Lane, which was not changed from the last hearing. Site Plan Review Committee decided that was enough. And again, for you who may not be familiar, Site Plan Review Committee includes representatives from several city agencies, including Transportation, Parking Authority, Planning Department, amongst others. And they felt that our plan was sufficient. So that's basically where we are.
Okay. Could you quickly address the hardship or uniqueness of the
Sure. Do
property?
you want me to do that? Yeah. Sure. I have to. Can you give me a second? I need
Sure.
to go back through my notes.
And while you're doing it, I meant to ask for a staff report, so while you're looking, I'll ask for staff reports.
Yeah.
We have, from the previous hearing, an email from a neighbor at 120 West Austin Street who raised concerns because of the narrowness of Rope Walk Alley and similar issues involving traffic, and they're concerned about how that process works. We also have, I spoke yesterday with Mr. Chung, and he's here to speak to himself, but he wasn't sure he could make it, so I wanted to let him know that I was going to present his concerns, but he's here to do that. And planning had a report initially, and I believe they probably have an updated one that for today.
Well, updated in the sense that, as you've already heard, the Site Plan Review Committee completed its review of proposal and the changes that needed to be made to the design and layout were made. This is the first of the 3 steps which this project will go through with the Planning Department. The next step is an Urban Design and Architectural Review Panel review of the elevations of the buildings themselves. And the 3rd step is the subdivision process, which is in front of the Planning Commission and is a public hearing just like this one. So there's no particular change in the planning department's position on this. Thank you.
Okay.
Sure, I think I'm ready.
Okay.
Sure, the uniqueness stems from both the size, the shape, and the orientation of the subject property. It is by far the largest property on this block of rope walk. It is also has the widest frontage on rope walk. We have about a 70-foot frontage on rope walk lane. Every other property on this side of rope walk lane is 14 feet wide. It's also the only property on this side of rope walk that even has any frontage. All the other properties are oriented until West Austin Street, while this one has a West Rope Walk Lane address. And as far as the hardships, we require these setbacks to meet the Planning Department Site Plan Review Committee requirements and to provide the setback from Rope Walk Lane to allow vehicular access, to allow our parking, which is another requirement of the zoning code. So that's the hardship created by the development. I think I spoke to the uniqueness unless anyone else has any other questions.
Fine, thank you.
It's also a commercial property
Mm-hmm.
that is basically in a lot of, surrounded by residential properties as well.
Okay. All right, let's hear from the opposition. You state your name, please.
My name is Yuseng Chung. I'm the owner of 31-45, a property address on the West Street, which is these two property development surrounding. And they never talk to me, and I don't know because they think I'm against it. But if you know the neighborhood, Rope Walk Lane is not really a street. It's a, if you know Rope Walk Tavern on Charles Street, it's a very narrow alley. And it goes to this area, and the even road is concave. And you cannot really drive through. I mean, it's just drive, but it's an alley. And the building of 5 houses there, with it already congested. I cannot imagine how could that happen. How could the fire truck can pass, even the postal services, garbage pickups? That's really something. If they want to do something there, you know, I have this property at the Hanover and West Street corner with the Papa John and laundromat and this commercial, which is 8 addresses. This development right next to us, even as is today, there are a lot of people pass through my the parking lot because of the congested situation. That creates traffic hazard. And if they build 5 houses there on one address, they already have 6 houses, which I think is a lot. So I was told that they have a control of 47 West Street. Why don't they just demolish that one and have access to Rope Walk, so that they can come to a main street, West Street, rather than trying to use Rope Walk. And then also, since they have 6 houses on Clarkson or Clemson, that they can make a front, nice front of the 6, rather than having a garage door entrance as the main entrance of the house, make the front on this side, make a street pass through. Then not 5 houses, build less houses. So little, you know, I'm supportive of any improvement. But this is too much, 11 houses in a very small block, in a small alley. And I don't know, you know, I'm not the site plan. I talked to Mr. French, asked him that I don't know all the elements, but I'm there looking at it every day, and I cannot imagine how could they have 5 houses in the small alley and not create the problems. So then Mr. French tells me there are stages from zoning board, then the planning division. So I'm hoping that our voice can be heard, but I was hoping that neighboring property should be consulted. But this developer, knowing that I'm right there, I represent 8 properties, and I called the shop landlord. They were never contacted by this group, and although I know this is urban renewal area, I don't know, but I can tell you as a property owner, which should have been consulted. They never came to me. I came here opposed, but they never came to me. So my concern is I don't know the details of what variance and what site plan, everything is there qualified. I don't know that part. But I know as an owner of the property, as the person, I've been in South Baltimore 40 years, and I have an office a block from there, and I know Rope Walk Lane, but that has a name Lane, but that's not really a street. It's an alley. And I don't know how they can build that many houses in that alley, not creating problems. So that's why I would like to ask the board to consider they have to really reduce the density, to create, because they control 47 West Street. Why can't they not demolish that one and have access to West Street? West Street is not large, but still is a street. that they can come out there. Then the house they built on this warehouse, one small warehouse, even, maybe three, some smaller number of houses, it may work out. But the way they propose is too much.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am?
Good evening, good afternoon, Commission. My name is Betty Bland Thomas. I'm the president of the South Baltimore Partnership, a community organization in the historic Sharp-Leaden Hall community. And I'm recently learning about this development, and my concern is that we're under mass development, and we're trying to maintain the integrity as well as the history of our community. I do rely on the expertise of the city departments to give the community guidance, but sometimes we drop the ball. Our community was not contacted. As Mr. Berry says, and he is a friend, he will attend our community meeting and give us some insight on their plans. Whatever approves in this plan will definitely have an effect on now the vast interest in our community. So we are very concerned about the integrity, about the design, and if you know where we're located, we're by the two sports facilities as well as the Horseshoe Casino. So we're undertaking a lot of traffic pressures, and we're just trying to do the best that we can as housewives, as community leaders, to make sure that the quality of our life is not greatly changed. We're concerned about the environment. We have a high rate of concrete in our area. We need more green space planted. So I would like to be part of that review panel as they're making their final decision. I'd like an opportunity to talk with Mr. Berry to see the designs, not only just by myself, but with other people in the community. We're forced to now learn about engineering and design and what the future impact of that's going to be. So we're going to do the best that we can to make decisions for ourselves to support development, because we know we can't stop it, but we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to still have a good quality of life, whatever occurs.
I just want to make sure I understand. It appears that you're not necessarily opposed to the development, but you want to be part of the process.
Part of it, yeah.
If this board were to approve, you want to be part of the process moving forward.
Most definitely. I respect Mr. Barry, and I think I'm a little surprised that he did not know we're listed with the planning department to contact us, because he knows once I hear about it, I'm going to show up, because I'm concerned. I'm one of those people who've invested. I'm a homeowner. I'm invested in the community. I'm invested in the significant history that Afro-Americans have contributed to Baltimore City. And I want to make sure that our history remains. And this is a predominantly Afro-American community that has always been diverse. So we're not trying to keep it without considerable consideration of the overall plan.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Berry?
Let me address first, the comments on traffic congestion, and again, to reiterate, the Site Plan Review Committee has representatives from Fire Department, Transportation, Traffic Control. They look at all of that aspect. I would also comment that Rope Walk Lane provides parking today to majority of the houses on Austin Street. If you look at your aerial photograph, you'll see some parking pads, parking garages, any number of things. From our standpoint, it wasn't an issue, and even a site plan review, whether Rope Walk Lane should be, and I think this is a city decision, one way or two ways. It sort of functions as two ways, but if the city decides that it would function better as one way, that would be fine. Let the neighbors decide that. That probably will come out as a practical matter through the subdivision process and in response to maybe the neighborhood's concerns. Clarkson, we felt that when that was approved, Clarkson and Rope Walk, while they are technically streets and so meet the city's definition of allowing subdivision on these streets, they are functioning and providing parking access to many of the properties here. And these houses on Clarkson as well as Rope Walk will have front doors as well as parking access, just like the rest of the houses on Austin. I think the confusion with Miss Betty Bland Thomas had to do with the change of name, perhaps. Historically, it was the Sharp-Leaden Hall community. South Baltimore Partnership is relatively new. As I apologize personally to you. We've worked together on many issues in the past, and she's a really devoted leader of that historic neighborhood in Sharp-Leaden Hall, and we look forward to our meeting with them on Tuesday.
Great. Any
And
questions?
continuing, frankly, through the process.
Can I comment on his, he
Very-
was
very
saying
briefly,
that,
very
yeah,
briefly.
the rope walk can be two-way lane. It's a city's decision. Does he know the rope walk lane? You cannot have a two-car pass there. It's very narrow lane. How, I just cannot believe that he was saying that whether the rope walk lane can be two-way street is a city's decision. I just want to say that.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you
Okay.
all.
Thank you very much.
Next case, 2014-308, 223 to 225 Park Avenue. You can actually stand here. Yeah. Let's get you sworn in.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Tadele? Yes. This is to use a portion known as 225 Park Avenue as an after-hours establishment to an existing tobacco shop with a hookah lounge. Is that correct? Yes. Great. Any staff reports?
We have one letter from Downtown Partnership. They oppose this appeal. They state that this business, Ivella Hookah Lounge, currently operates as a hookah bar and late-night lounge, and that the applicant is already operating in the late-night capacity. Advertising hours as late as 4 a.m. The applicant has also been offering food to patrons, which is a health code violation, and that they have been serving alcohol free of charge, but charging admission at the door. They state that they have reached out to the applicant to try and work with him, but that he was not in attendance at the 2 meetings that they set, and we have a report from planning.
Thank you. Planning Department reviewed the application. And also reviewed the zoning code concerning after-hours establishments. The zoning code does itemize what types of businesses are eligible to be permitted to be after-hours establishments, and the Planning Department could not see hookah lounge or anything similar to that included in that list. And for that reason, the department recommends disapproval of the appeal because a hookah shop or hookah lounge is not listed in the zoning code among the uses that can be operated as an after-hours establishment. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Why don't you tell us what you want to do here, number one, and number two, address the comments raised in the letter and from Mr. French.
Okay, my name is Daniel Warada. Can I speak on behalf of Mr.
Sure.
Daniel Warada, W-O-R-E-D-A. This is a new establishment. We just opened. It's a hookah bar, and it's mainly serving like the Ethiopian community. And the whole purpose has been just to stay until 4 or 5 a.m. Playing traditional music and serving hookah. This is, I guess, this is the first time I heard that there was some problem with the development. So I don't know. We didn't receive the letter, so that's why we didn't show up to the meetings. But we do not serve food, or there is no alcohol. It's just the hookah bar.
Okay. The planning department's contention is that, or position is that this is not a permitted use for an after-hours establishment. Can you address that?
I can't. I would have to study that further. I'm not aware of that. We have all the licenses for a hookah bar to be open late, so I would have to look at that further.
Okay.
I don't know if I can help or hurt when I say what I'm going to say.
Mr. Tanner, you always help.
This property is located in a B4-2 Central Business District. Hookah lounges are authorized only as an accessory use to tobacco shops. There's no restriction on the hours of operation if it's just a tobacco shop. But if they want to operate as some kind of a late-night entertainment venue, it's not a hookah lounge, it's not a tobacco shop, it's a nightclub or whatever else you want to call it, which would prohibit smoking. So, the problem is it's a kind of a catch-22, and they can't have it both ways. Either they're a tobacco shop with an accessory hookah lounge, which has no limit on their hours, or they're a late-night venue that requires approval from the board, but they would have to.
Not to have smoking.
Right. Hookah bars are allowed under an exemption to the smoking laws of the state.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're gonna have some other entertainment type activities going on, I believe smoking would be prohibited.
Let me suggest to you, and this will be your decision, that you may want to postpone this case and have a conversation with Mr. Tanner over the next few days for you to get a better understanding of the law here. Okay. And we're going to postpone the case. We will notify you when the case comes back. So, all right. Thank you. 2014-308 is postponed. 2014-345, 2460 Brentwood Avenue. Sure. 2014-345, 2460 Brentwood Avenue.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, sir.
Great. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Michael Davis.
Great. And Mr. Davis, the appellant is Angela Gray. Can you tell us your relationship to?
Well, Angela Gray is to Holston.
Okay.
She's here.
And do you own the property?
Yes. Well, actually, the property's been put into a trust for my children. I'm the manager of the property.
Are you the trustee? Okay. All right, great. Do we have any staff reports?
We have one report from planning.
Thank you. The Planning Department reviewed this application, noted that this property has been used as a barber shop in the past, which is a non-conforming use, and therefore has no objection to the appeal, provided that non-conforming use of the property as a barber shop has not been discontinued or abandoned. Thank you.
All right, great. All right, so why don't you tell us a little about what you want to do, and then give us some history of this property in terms of it being occupied.
Okay. Well, I purchased the property in 1992, and it's been a barber shop since 1993. In recent years, I didn't manage the shop personally. I leased it out to other individuals. I have documentation. I have a letter that the previous tenant received from me, correspondence, which is addressed Brentwood Barbershop / Marquell Avirex, which was one of the previous tenants. I have a failure to pay notice, which was last year as well. And then I brought Marquell Avirex, which was not the last tenant, but next to the last tenant. He's here with me, as well as the last tenant, who was an employee of Marquell Avirex at one point in time, and then she tried to take over the establishment. And I brought a customer with me as well.
All right. Can you give us some dates as to when these various tenants were there and
Okay, well,
sort
Mr.
of a
Avirex.
chronology?
Okay.
And actually, you can just work backwards because we're interested in the last 12 months.
Okay, 12 months, January of 14 until October of 13. Brittany Davis was the tenant there. From
And is Miss Davis here?
Yes, she is.
Okay.
From October of 13 of 13 until it was March of 11. Mr. Avirex was the tenant.
And that's fine. Can we? Is Miss Davis willing to come up and?
Yeah, both of them are here.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Good. Can I get you sworn in, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. And can you tell us what the dates that you occupied this shop, and did you operate it as a barber shop?
Barbershop / salon.
Okay.
I rented the property from Mr. Davis, in January to October. And
January of which year?
January of 2013.
Okay.
January of 2013 to October to 2013. My job, what I do, I cut hair all day long. So I was looking for somewhere else to service my clients because we don't do anything but straight cut hair. So like my mom, my other clients, I had to find somewhere else to take them, and Mr. Davis was willing to help to lease the shop out to me so I can provide
I
those
just cut to the
services.
chase. Did you operate your salon/barber shop until October of 13 in this location?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you. I think we have enough information to make a decision. Thank you. Next case, 2014-373, 509 Grundy Street.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, all truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Good. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Evis Jessel.
Okay. And do we have any staff reports?
Thank you. Planning Department reviewed this application, noted that this property had previously been in front of this board for approval for 2 dwelling units and offices with 16 parking spaces back in 2013. There does not appear to have been any activity to carry out that approval since that time. The urban renewal plan that applies to this property is the Highlandtown Business Area Urban Renewal Plan, and it does have specific renovation requirements for an existing structure within the district contained in the property rehabilitation standards in Part D of the plan. The department therefore recommends that approval of this appeal, if granted, be subject to these conditions, specifically that the applicant complete all renovations of the structures on the property in accordance with the property rehabilitation standards of the Highlandtown Business Area Urban Renewal Plan, and in addition, pardon me, be subject to these conditions. There will be no parking, staging, or storing of vehicles on public rights-of-way, no parking or storage of unlicensed vehicles on the property. All work must be performed indoors. All materials, parts, and equipment related to the use will be stored indoors. The area used for temporary storing of vehicles will be adequately screened by an opaque fence or wall. And if a dumpster is used to collect trash and waste related to this use, the dumpster will be placed either inside the existing building or within a masonry enclosure having a solid lockable wooden gate. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jessel, why don't you tell us what you want to do here, and then number one and number two, if we were to approve this, would you accept the conditions that Mr. French just stated?
Well, technically, when we bought the property, there used to be like a sales, like an auto sales place, so we bought it with the intention of doing that, but then we learned that we had to go through the same process to have it approved. So I was hoping that we could maybe have that grandfather, since it was like previously that used like a while back ago. Because I see here that they approve it for the auto servicing, but it doesn't say anything for the accessory sales. So I don't know if that will be included on the approval or not.
So the purpose of your appeal, as we understand it, is to use a portion of the premises known as 515 to 17 Grundy Street and 519 Grundy Street as garages for the storage, repair, and servicing of motor vehicles not over 1.5 ton capacity, not including bodywork, painting, or engine rebuilding with accessory motor vehicle sales.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So.
That's in addition to what the board approved.
Correct.
In 2013, at that time, basically the same conditions that planning requested about compliance with they must provide designated off-street parking spaces for the occupants of the dwellings every night. And I met with the applicant, and she confirmed that they do have designated parking for the dwelling.
Okay.
It's kind of an unusual site with several structures, and these would all coexist with each other.
Correct. If I may, the whole property was the 3 lots, they were consolidated into 1 lot. So right now it's 509. So there's not 515 or 516.
Okay.
So, and I think as long as they comply with the standards of complaining about auto-related activities, it should work. They may need to, if they haven't gotten a permit from what was approved in 2013.
Yeah, we've done with that renovation. I just didn't know back then that I had to do these as a whole process. We were just trying to renovate the property because it was vacant and people were vandalizing the property and stuff. So we just wanted to get it moving. So that's why I'm back here now with it.
Need to extend that so that she doesn't run out of
Time,
and
yeah.
authority because it's granted in 13.
Okay.
So I, if the board approves it, I would recommend that we extend the 13 authorization also.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, that'd be all.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
No.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. (2014-390), 24 East Madison Street. Hi, how are you?
Great.
Bear with me 1 second here. Why don't I get you sworn in while I'm searching for this file?
Yes.
Great. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Joseph Gauss.
Okay. And this is to use the lower level known as 802 St. Paul Street as an artisan workshop with retail sales of artisan goods and vintage wares.
Absolutely.
Great. Any staff reports?
We have one report from planning.
Planning Department reviewed this application. We did not have access at the time to a floor plan to indicate which portion of the property was going to be used for the proposed use that's the subject of this appeal. However, we know that there has been non-conforming use of the property previously. The property is located in the Mount Vernon Historic District, and therefore any exterior alterations to the property that would be the outcome of this decision today will have to be reviewed by the Commission for Historical and Architectural Preservation, and it's recommended the applicant contact CHAP, CHAP, to proceed with that process.
We already have, actually. Mr. Stephen Chen, who is the one of the chairs on the architectural committee, has been kind of guiding us himself. He's been to the site. We've discussed what we can, what we cannot do. He has worked with us to sort of appease the landlord and ourselves as well as the commission. We are also a member of the Midtown Belvedere Association, and we have their blessing as well.
Before you go into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you want to do here and the status of the building today? Is it occupied? When is it last occupied and so forth?
The status of the building today, let's start there. The last that I knew, and I lived across the street for 2 years, was a dry cleaner. Before that, I'm not sure what it was, but to what I'm to understand, the building has never, that portion of the building has never been used as family dwelling or office at all. It's actually, I have photos to show you in the front of the building, the way it looks. It would just not be conducive to being an apartment or a living space for somebody. There is no kitchen, nothing of that nature, just a bathroom. As far as what we want to do.
Well, let's back up now. What is it? What has it been used for?
Dry cleaning, which is, I'm assuming, commercial.
And when's the last time? Is it vacant today?
It is. We are currently renting it.
Well, when's the last time was it used for dry cleaning?
That I could not tell you.
Okay. Do we have any records, Mr. Tanner?
There were several appeals for the portion known as 800 St. Paul Street, but this is 802 St. Paul Street, which I think the first level must have been divided into two separate commercial tenant spaces, is from what I've gathered from that.
Correct.
Do you have pictures of the front of the building?
Yeah, I do. 800 was the old Red Emma's coffee shop, which that space was just an appeal last month, which they never showed up to their actual meeting, as far as I'm to understand.
So 800 and 802 are separate?
Two totally separate places within the building. 802 is basically a standalone structure, but it's connected in the corner to 24 East Madison. So it protrudes from the building, and I can show you that here. I'm not sure if you can see it from this photo here. But this is, yeah, it's less than 500 square feet. So this is the front of the building here. 800 would be over to this side here, and you go down in, and that was the old Red Emma's. This was the dry cleaner. I may have a picture that shows the actual sign that is still there, because we haven't changed it until we got approved, especially with Mr. Chen's, that was his recommendation.
The previous appeal for 800 was for tobacco shop, and that was postponed, and it's still pending, I believe.
You may be correct. There's been several different stories from different people in the neighborhood as to what exactly happened to that.
From what I can find, it has not been authorized by the board yet.
800
It's
has
still
not, no.
pending.
But
So
we are
David-
not connected with them in any way.
The other appeals that we have here, other than 800, are they for 802?
No. They were for 800.
All these, all six of
Coffee
these?
shop and a bookstore.
There's been several
Yeah,
things that
I
have tried
think
to go
the,
in there.
The dry cleaners was there as a constant for many years.
It
So they
was.
hadn't changed up until this request now.
Okay, and commercial dry cleaners, a lawful use?
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
legally established,
Okay.
non-conforming use.
Okay.
I don't know when it was discontinued, but it's true that there really isn't much else that could go in there other than some other non-conforming use.
And as far as the neighborhood is concerned, they're very excited to have that building be filled, period. They're also very excited about our cause, which is something I can explain to you if you like.
Sure.
Basically, what we're doing is we're providing a venue for local artisans, which there are so many in our neighborhood, including us today, to showcase the wares that they make, give them an avenue to showcase, make some money doing it, and filter it back into the neighborhood, while providing the neighborhood with a viable retail option, which we don't really have in Mount Vernon. There's not so much retail, and the community is thirsty for it. They're very excited about it.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Did Mr. Frank, did you complete your report?
Not
Oh, I'm sorry.
quite.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, that was probably my fault.
The applicant indicated that he's been working with the Architectural Review Committee for the Mount Vernon Historic District, and that is part of the process by which one obtains a notice to proceed. So we would ask that the application, if it's approved, be subject to the condition that the applicant actually obtain a notice to proceed from the Commission for Historic and Architectural Preservation for any exterior changes that would be occasioned by the proposed use of the property. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so now, any questions from the board? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
2014-400, 3403 Reisterstown Road.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your name for the record, please.
Danielle Davis.
Great, thank you. Any staff reports?
We have one report from planning.
The applicant provided information in the application itself requesting approval for a convenience store. The department noted that the application as handwritten refers to a packaged goods store as part of the convenience store. This particular use is something that would be not allowed as a change of non-conforming use, a packaged goods liquor store. This is in the Park Heights Urban Renewal Plan area, and although the plan does not specifically prohibit liquor stores in the residential zones because they're considered not likely to be there in the first place, it does actually prohibit them in some of the other business zones within that area. And therefore, opening a packaged goods liquor store at this location would be very inconsistent with that urban renewal plan. The department therefore recommends disapproval of the portion of the appeal relating to a packaged goods liquor store because liquor stores for packaged goods are not among uses listed as permitted in a B1 district. The department has no objection to approval of a convenience store consisting of a candy, tobacco, and variety store or food store, provided that the applicant demonstrates that nonconforming use of the property has not been discontinued or abandoned. Thank you.
Great. Why don't you tell us what you'd like to do?
Okay, well,
And then we can talk a little bit about versus packaged good versus convenience store.
I don't even know where the packaged goods came from because I don't even condone an alcohol.
So this use, if we approved it, would not have any alcohol sales?
No,
Okay.
it's just for a convenience store.
Okay.
Actually, since 2008, I went and got my sales and tax use license. I've been using the portion of the property that was a beauty salon. I had turned it into a convenience store. And from 2008 until August of this year, I've been utilizing it as a convenience store.
Okay. Has the beauty shop portion continued as well?
No, I tore the beauty shop down and I put a convenience store in the portion of the building that the beauty shop was in.
Okay.
So instead of it being a beauty salon, it's now a convenience store.
Okay.
And I do have letters from I do have a letter from the neighbor, one of my neighbors that signed for basically everyone on the block. And I have several signatures from the entire neighborhood because, you know, like I said, I've been there since 2008. And they would like to see me continue.
Great. Would you like us to make these part of the record?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Okay. Any questions from the board? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next case is 2014-402, 516 East 25th Street. Good. We'll get you sworn in a second.
Yes, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
Great. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Benjamin.
Great, thank you.
Ryan Martin.
Thank you. All right, any staff reports?
We have one report from planning.
Planning Department reviewed this application, noted that this property has been used in the past as a garage for bus and transit vehicles, a permitted use in the B3 district. The applicant is proposing a conditional use, a commercial repair garage for vehicles. And the department recommends that approval of this appeal, if granted, be subject to these conditions, in addition to any conditions the board may establish. 1, there will be no parking, staging, or storing of vehicles on public rights-of-way. 2, there will be no parking or storage of unlicensed vehicles on the property. 3, all work must be performed indoors. 4, all parts, materials, and equipment related to the use will be stored indoors. 5, any area used for temporary storing of vehicles will be adequately screened by an opaque fence or wall. And 6, if a dumpster is used to collect waste and trash related to the use, the dumpster will be placed either inside the existing building or within a masonry enclosure having a solid lockable wooden gate. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Sarge, would you, why don't you tell us what you'd like to do here? And number 1, and number 2, if we were to approve, are these conditions acceptable to you?
These conditions are set.
Okay.
What we intend to do here is build an auto service garage. That is, okay, in the building plan that we have, we specifically actually want to do Maryland State Inspection Station. That is a requirement for 4 parking spaces by their standard. So internally, we intend to enclose 6 parking spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the garage will go inside. We have like, it's a long property. And again, I don't know, the history of this property will tell you that it's been a garage for so many years. And I have agreed with the city of Baltimore, even before the purchase of this property, that we're going to revitalize the property to enhance the economy of the neighborhood and give employment to people. And that's what we are in the process of doing. By the purchase of this property, we have 4,000 used tires inside this facility. That is why I want to know the interest of this gentleman here. The guy next door, the next door neighbor is opposing this, but hasn't made it known to me, but I guess through this gentleman, because he uses this facility to dump his tires when, I can show you, when he finishes his day's work, he dumps.
Well, let's not get into speculation why someone's opposing. We just want to hear what you want to do.
What I want to do is build a garage and service Baltimore City, revitalize the property. It's been abandoned for many, many years. That's my interest.
Okay.
And I'm a member of that community too. Charles Village, I have a property there. Idlewood, I have a property there. I have an invested interest in the community.
Okay. Let's hear from your opposition.
Absolutely. My name is Ryan Naughton. I was recently contacted by an owner of a business in the area.
Are you an attorney?
I am an attorney.
Okay. And you're here in the capacity as representing an owner?
I am,
Okay.
but they would like to remain off the record because they don't want any friction with the new property. They just wanted to express their concerns about parking and traffic concerns in the area. 516 East 25th Street is just east of Greenmont Avenue, and it's a heavily trafficked area. There's already very little parking available, and what they were concerned about, and I'm not sure they knew the full details of the conditions being imposed on the proposed use, was that using the facility as an auto repair garage would, especially if there's insufficient parking on site, would lead to overflow parking and increased traffic and congestion in the area. To the extent that those are already addressed and all the parking for the facility is on site, I don't think they have an objection. If, however, there are only 6 parking spots and you're projecting 20 customers on a daily basis, obviously where the remaining cars would park is a major concern to these businesses. But that is all they wanted to put on the record.
Great. Would you like to add anything?
We own 930 East 22nd Street, almost an acre garage in case we need an overflow parking facility. It's only a couple of blocks from 516.
Okay.
Again, Your Honor, I must state for the records that the interest of this gentleman is not genuine. Thank you.
All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Next case, 2014-404, 2407, 2409, and 2411 Greenmount Avenue. How are you?
How you doing, sir?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Shakil Yusuf.
Thank you. This is the day for auto repair garages, it
Yeah.
appears. Any staff reports?
Reviewed this application, noted that like the previous case, this is in a B3 district. This is a conditional use. The department has proposed conditions very similar to those that you just heard for the previous case. The department recommends approval of this appeal, if granted, subject to these conditions, in addition to what the board may establish. First, that the three lots known as 2407, 2409, and 2411 Greenmount Avenue must be consolidated first, as both the building and the use of the lots' open areas is going to be in common, and the lots have not yet been consolidated. Second, there would be no parking, staging, or storing of vehicles on public rights-of-way. Third, there will be no parking or storage of unlicensed vehicles on the property. Fourth, all work must be performed indoors. Fifth, all materials, parts, and equipment related to this use will be stored indoors. Sixth, vehicular access to the garage will be only from Boone Street. Seventh, the area used for temporary storing of vehicles will be adequately screened by an opaque fence or wall. And finally, if a dumpster is used to collect waste and trash related to the use, the dumpster will be placed either inside the existing building or within a masonry enclosure having a solid lockable wooden gate. We have spoken with the applicant just a short time ago concerning the condition about access to the garage being only from Boone Street. The reason for the planning department's interest in that is to close the curb cut that may now exist on Greenmount Avenue as a traffic safety matter. This is sort of an opportunity for us to do that. Boone Street would provide a much more suitable access. It is a public street, and particularly during times of heavy traffic flow on Greenmount Avenue, it would be much more convenient if we did not have people trying to exit from this garage onto Greenmount Avenue directly. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And same thing we asked the last go-around. One, would you tell us what, in your words, what you want to do here? And two, do you accept the conditions suggested by the Planning Commission?
I accept all the conditions except the Boone Street, because we are already using the entrance. We have entrance from the Greenmount Avenue. We have a driveway from there. I don't know why I need to use the Boone Street.
Mr. French, would you maybe go over why you're suggesting the Boone Street entrance?
Yeah. The department notes that this property actually has access from Greenmount Avenue and from Boone Street, if you view the three lots combined. Basically, Boone Street would provide a rear entrance coming off both Boone Street and, I believe it's 24th Street, which is the foot of Loch Raven Road, coming down into Greenmount Avenue. This would be, in the opinion of the department, a much safer thing than depending upon the Greenmount Avenue entrance as the primary entrance for customers reaching the garage.
I think it's hard for the customers to go from that street, because that's a one-way street, and there's not much too much exposure for the customers from Boone Street, because that's a little street. And that's the main street, that's a much exposure for the customer, and we're already using that. I still can't understand why there's a problem.
So, let me make sure I understand. This is, Mr. French, maybe you could come up and sort of help me out here. So, is this Boone Street here?
That's correct, yeah. This is Greenmount Avenue.
You've got a better picture.
This is 24th Street and the foot of Loch Raven Road. And this is Boone, and loops back behind here, connecting actually Greenmount and 24th Street, Loch Raven Road.
All right, so your concern is people pulling in or backing out from here into Greenmount is going to...
Consider it a little safer if people actually were coming out of Boone, or actually if they went down Boone to 24th Loch Raven, and then either went up Loch Raven if they wanted to get north, or back out here to Greenmount at 24th. But this is what I should say also, this is a traffic engineering issue more than a zoning issue, obviously.
Yes.
And if the If the board doesn't consider that appropriate to include in its conditions, what we would say is then that would be something that would be negotiated between the applicant and the city agencies that have to approve that permit for use of occupancy, including that use of that curb cut.
Okay.
This has been used not as a garage, obviously, it's been used as a liquor store, and
But still, when I bought the property, they were using the same upper.
I understand. There has been no in and out vehicular access, even if there is a curb cut there. And he is proposing to make regular vehicular access of it.
Okay. Would it make any difference if this was an entrance only for vehicles and everything exited through the back?
It would be safer that way, definitely.
Would that be acceptable to you?
Yeah, it makes some sense.
Okay. All right, so tell us a little bit about your project.
Okay, yes, what I'm trying to do, open a garage mechanic shop, and I was trying to make a dealership over there, which got enough parking space over there, like for 10 cars, that is conditioned for the dealership, and like a state inspection also over there.
Mhm.
That's what initially I was planning to do over there, but that's why I bought the building.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
And so,
No,
just
go.
one,
Yeah, sure.
apologize, one more question. If both think that's not as safe, because I talked with the architect also, he says like, there's any problem, I can just demolish the whole building, and I can make all the building in the back. All back of all the way down, and that way there's no problem while backing up, and there's no trouble carrying the car in. outside,
Well,
because
let's stick with the proposal you have on the table here.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with trying that in the future.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because I need to renovate that, it would cost me a lot, so I was thinking I can demolish the building.
Well, as I said, we're going to deal with what you've presented to us today, so. All right, so any questions from the board? No, thank you.
Thank you very much, thank you, thank you.
Next case, 2014-405, 6301 Bel Air Road. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Good. State your name, please.
My name is Stephen Colbert.
And this is to use a portion known as Unit A for a 30-seat church with 5 off-street parking spaces in the rear yard.
Yes, sir.
Staff reports?
We have one letter from the Harbor Community Organization Incorporated. They write in support of both the Seamount Community Improvement Association and the East Rosemont Community Association. Both associations are concerned that the use of this property as a church with 30 seats without the provision for sufficient off-street parking will overwhelm the already limited off-street parking on this particular block of Bel Air Road, which is currently the location of at least 6 businesses with no off-street parking. Therefore, they oppose this appeal. And we have one report from planning.
Okay. The planning department reviewed this application and has no objection to the application. Notes that if there was to be a parking variance, it would be approximately 37.5%. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
And the side area is also used for,
Well, the side looks like a sidewalk.
yeah.
Okay. It'd be hard to get a car on a sidewalk.
No, it's larger than what you can perceive on there.
Well, I'm saying it may be larger, but it appears to be a sidewalk, and I don't think you can park on a sidewalk.
Yes,
Okay.
you could not park on the sidewalk. But,
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the church.
Okay, we've been in the community approximately 3 months now. We had a chance to talk to the business owners in the community and some of the residents. We are a new church. We've been in existence about 7 years, and we were, cognizant of the area that we were moving into, business area and a residential area. Prior to us moving into this community, we had been located in East Baltimore. And one of the ways we dealt with traffic and parking was to have a pool of vehicles to pick our members up and bring them to church. So that wasn't a problem at the previous site. It's not a problem at this site. We have a van, 15-passenger van, and a SUV that seats 8, and also an additional car that seats 4. Our congregation, we have a 30-seat capacity in the church, but we rarely get maybe 20 to 23 people on a Sunday. So we don't even use the 5 spaces that we have. When we meet on Sundays, it's between the hours of 11 and 1. There are 10 businesses in that block, in that stretch. Only 2 of them are open on Sunday in the afternoon, and at that point in time, we're leaving our service, going home. So there's no, adverse effect on traffic at all. On Wednesday evening, when we have Bible study from 7 to 8, again, there are only 2 businesses open. There are, ample street parking, and again, we have more than ample parking in the rear of the church. So I can understand the community having these apprehensions because of the traffic patterns, the historical traffic patterns, but no one has come to myself or the church to, actually ask us, what we're, doing to kind of, work along with the traffic situation there. And as I said, the 5 parking spaces that we have are more than adequate for the 3 vehicles that we use. And we're a family church. We pick these families up, we bring them to church, we take them back home, and that's basically all of the, parking we need.
Okay.
So no intentions to grow the church?
Yeah, we would love to grow the church, and we would be, in a planning mode, try to be proactive in that. If we had to leave that church because of, increased, membership, that would be something good.
I guess, would you agree that there is some uniqueness to the shape of this lot?
In terms of what?
The shape of your building, the lot where the church sits, it's an odd-shaped lot. Would you?
Yeah, it sits.
Would you agree that it's sort of a unique shape?
In terms of this proximity to the.
No, just the shape of it itself.
No, it has 5 conventional parking spaces.
No, I'm just talking about the shape. It's not a rectangular lot. It has some odd angles.
Oh, yes, right.
So would you agree it's sort of a unique shape?
Yeah, it would be in
Okay.
that aspect, yeah.
Okay. Does the board have any questions? No. Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
We got one more. 2014-101.
This, actually, was an appeal that was heard on September 23rd, and we received a copy of a memorandum of understanding between Fells Point Community Organization and the Fells Point Residents Association, which I was planning to present to the board in our executive meeting, but the representative from the community wanted it to be placed on the record, and I expected them to be here to do that. So I don't know what happened, but basically, at the last hearing, they alluded to this memorandum of understanding, and the board, I believe, approved subject to this. We now have a signed copy between the David Martz, Fells Point Residents Association, Joanne Mess, I always mispronounce it, Massa Post, president of Fells Point Community, and Jose Enrique Rabadinera as the operator of the business. And hopefully if the board allows, we can adopt, make this part of the record, and we don't need to have them come back. And the only reason I put it on the docket is because they requested it.
I think we can make it part of the record. The
Yeah.
board agree?
Yes,
Okay.
we've done it before.
All right, I think we're done. Let's go off the record.
I guess they didn't realize.
Like, she should have called next week.
Very first one?
I don't have issues with anything.
I was gonna say, I don't have anything to talk about.
Yeah.
Are you okay with the first one?
I just wanted to make sure I understood it, so it's
Oh,
just
good.
Yeah. Why was
the
I gonna do
variances
that?
for approval or the setback and the
Which one are you talking about?
coverage.
Yeah, 16, first one.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Just a couple of them, approval of planning conditions.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the last two with the garages? Are we going to impose any conditions there?
I think, I would suggest with 405, we impose planned conditions and the additional modified to the effect that they can enter from,
404.
Right.
yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, 404, sorry. They can enter from, is it Greenmount?
From Greenmount and exit onto
And exit
Pearl.
onto the back street. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go back to 402 just real quick. I made a note about the number of vehicles. Yeah, so that's based off of the capacity that if it was excess, it was going to spill out into the street. He made a comment that he had owned another building a couple blocks up that they would use.
Yeah.
I mean, should we apply any conditions to the number of vehicles that is allowed in there at any given time?
Martin,
Is that
did you-
Usually
is that
a
a
standard
transportation issue?
condition
Yeah, I was
that
gonna-
they
did you
can't
address
park
it?
along the.
Did address it. The aerial photograph of that plot shows a number of vehicles parked
Right.
properly on public sidewalk, it's pretty obvious. And a number parked on the street. We don't know if they're there to be repaired or not. I think basically imposing the standard conditions about no activity, repair activity occurring outside of the building is probably as far as the board can go. And then unfortunately, it is an enforcement issue. And this is not the only place in the city where we have this problem.
Really?
It's an enforcement.
The structure will cover the entire lot, so whatever they park will have to be inside.
Okay.
They
Which
can't-
the applicant said they would park inside.
So
Yeah.
if they overload the public right-of-way, they'll get citation.
And that's about all we can do.
Mm.
Or they'll get away with it.
Right.
All right, we ready?
You know, the anonymous opposition, we'll make sure that that doesn't
Are
happen.
you an attorney? Yeah, no, but I can't tell you our website.
Why are you here? That was interesting.
All right, let's run through the docket. 2014-16, 101 West Rope Walk Lane. I'm an okay with that, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
2014-308, 223 to 25 Park Avenue was postponed. Was it postponed?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. 2014-345, 2460 Brentwood, I'm a yes.
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 2014-353, 1715 to 21 South Clinton was postponed. 2014-364, 35 North Potomac Street was postponed. 2014-370, 3412 Olympia was consent. 2014-371, 1116 West Hamburg. I am a yes.
It was postponed. No, that
Was
was
it?
postponed.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
We'll note that for next time.
Yeah, note that for next time. Sorry, looking at the wrong one. 2014-373, 509 Grundy Street. I'm okay with planning conditions and also an extension of the 2013 approval.
Yes, with the extension of the approval.
2014-374, consent. 2014-375, consent. 2014-376, consent. 2014-377 through 2014-385 was consent. 2014-386 was postponed. 2014-387, consent. 2014-388, consent. 2014-389, consent. 2014-390, I'm a yes, with planning conditions.
Yes.
Yes.
2014-391, consent. 2014-393, consent. 2014-395, consent. 2014-397, consent. 2014-398, postponed. 2014-399, consent. 2014-400, 3403 Reisterstown Road, I am a yes.
Yes.
2014-401, consent.
Just back
Yeah.
on 400,
Yeah.
even though it didn't say that, but there was some discrepancy with the handwritten note. Should we make
Good
sure
point.
there's
Yeah,
no
good point. Approved
packaged goods?
as a convenience store and not a packaged goods.
I think when they wrote packaged goods, they meant like prepackaged food.
Yeah, probably. 2014-402, 516 East 25th Street, I am a yes with planning conditions.
Yes.
2014-404, 2407, 2409, 2411 Greenmount, I am a yes with planning condition modified with an entrance on Greenmount and an exit on the side street whose name I can't remember.
Boone.
Boone.
Yes.
Yes.
2014-405, 6301 Bel Air Road, okay with planning conditions.
Yes.
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 6205 Sariva Drive is consent, and 2014-101, we accepted putting the agreement on the record.
Correct.
303.
Well done.
304.
Jeff's been replaced as chair.